So many of you have heard some of the news that's been going on in the LETR world, but I'm going to let Mary kind of kick off the call this month. Have an announcement that I think we should get out of the way so we can talk about it, and then we'll move on with our agenda. So Mary, do you want to?
Oh, awesome. I get to be the start of this. So you guys probably saw we got some really unfortunate news about our buddy Eric Johnson, who is a nearly naked Norwegian and was instrumental in fundraising and just being a huge champion for Special Olympics through the polar plunge, that he has passed away by his own hand last week. They don't know if it was either Thursday night or, the Wednesday night or Thursday morning. That's all I know at this time. I have been in conversation with his parents and his brother. They're looking at tentatively a service in Spokane at his family's house. I don't know if this is the actual service, April 20th, and then something here in Seattle that sounds like some of the bars and his buddies are going to put together. I think it's going to be more of a memorial, May 11th. Just wanted to keep you guys in the loop on that. I will let you guys know anything that I find out regarding the actual services if anybody would like to attend. I am tentatively thinking about going over to Spokane on the 20th, pending if it's just a family event or if it's an actual service, but I will let you guys know.
Okay. So obviously, very sad news. As soon as, like Mary said, as soon as we know more, we will let everyone know. I've had some folks reach out to me that want to honor him in certain ways, and so we'll be seeing what we can do come Polar Plunge next year to help make his legacy live on. Chief, do you want to start with kind of like recruitment and regional coordinator outreach? I know Brian Johnston's having a hard time getting on. He has an update about Clark County, so I'll wait until he can get on in order to kind of talk about that a little bit.
So it's Rex. I'm in Brian's office here in lovely Liberty Lake, but unfortunately, he doesn't have a front desk person, so he just stepped out into the lobby for a minute to chit chat with somebody. So I'd say jump ahead to developer or to development.
Okay, perfect. So we will halt on those two. I'll share a little bit about Clark County. So we shared a little bit on the call last month about the Tippecop in Vancouver for Old Spaghetti Factory, where Portland PD has helped us out a little bit. That got great traction. Brian Johnston went down and was able to present as our recruitment chair on our executive council, and he was able to get a lot of momentum going for that. So we currently have 3 folks that are interested in the regional coordinator position down in the Clark County area. And so at the end of the call, we will have executive council members discuss the 3 candidates and how we want to move forward down there. So awesome work from Brian. Thank you for working with them and going and presenting. And this is great news for expanding LETR down in the south part of the county. We'll just, I guess, move forward a little bit with the regional coordinators since we do have quite a few of you on the phone. Has the Google Docs been working? Have they not? And where are we with the Chiefs Challenge? So last month, Chief asked everyone to please arrange to speak at your agency's Chiefs and Sheriffs meeting. So he gave you a 3-month time period from March to May in hopes that we can set that up. I know that Christy has done that because she emailed Rachel and we added it to the presentation calendar on the Google Doc, which you can see on the screen here. So hopefully regional coordinators, can you share how you guys are doing with the challenge or if you're running into any issues?
Well, this is Jeannie, and I have not done it yet. I was out of the office during the most recent Chiefs meeting. Our Chiefs meet once every other month as a whole group, and that's the one I want to meet. That's the one I want to make, where all the locals, including Coast Guard, military, FBI, are there. And so I will be doing that in likely June.
Awesome. And then Jeannie is also going to be attending the Mason County Breakfast, which is coming up later this month. So expanding within her region. So thank you for that, Jeannie.
Sure.
like you said, Christy, I'm meeting up with the King County Police Chiefs and Sheriffs. There's apparently 100 of them on the email list. Obviously, not all 100 are going to be there. The girls that I talked to said there will probably be about 40 people there. I'm also looking into possibly doing a talk with the Fraternal Order of Police. I just got to figure out, their meetings are the first Monday or Wednesday of the month. And I just got to get with the secretary to get me on a thing. I'm going to be available as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. And for those that haven't, please do reach out to your chiefs and sheriffs, and we'll start locally to see if we can get on the books. I have made, with Rachel's help, thank you, 50 folders for Christie's event that has just the torch run handbook. It has upcoming events, our calendar. It has the LETR brochures, my business card. So when you do get on the calendar somewhere, please let us know so we can get it on the calendar within the Google Docs so everyone's aware of where we are presenting. And we'll make sure to do our best to get athletes there and make sure that you guys have the presentations and videos and pictures and everything that you need. Any feedback on the Google Docs, you can see it on my screen. We have updated everything for the second quarter. So if you click on the Q2 documents, then you can see that the actual torch run, all the documents are in here. We have the Marysville to PLU torch run routes. We have the state run routes. This year we made a 1-page fact sheet. So it's a quick, easy, just dirty look at kind of torch runs, where they are, when they are, my contact information. We have all of the shirt order stuff here. We have the Buffalo Wild Wings flyer that's coming up on the 20th. And then we, of course, have those master documents. We are still working on getting those phone numbers inputted for you guys. That was one feedback that we received. Anything else that we can do to make this easier, please let us know. We do have, like I said, updated all that information. So please start reaching out to your agencies within your region so that we can help spread the word about the torch run. Questions, comments? Okay. We have some awesome, exciting news. We have a new hire. She is our new development coordinator over in the Spokane area. So I'm going to let Victoria have a minute to just introduce herself, but she started on the 4th. She will be at the breakfast in Seattle here on Thursday, in addition to tip a cup with me. So Victoria, I'll let you go ahead and say hi.
Hi, everyone. So I do live in Spokane. I moved here a couple years ago, but I spent my whole life on the west side, so I'm really familiar with the Seattle area, Bellingham, Vancouver. That's really home for me. So yeah, and I do have a little nonprofit background. I recently worked for the museum here in Spokane called the MAC. So I'm excited to be back in the nonprofit world and excited to meet everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yay. We're very, very excited to have you. She is definitely had a busy couple of days. She is going to be working under Luke on our kind of development side and area side, and she will be supporting quite a bit with law enforcement torch runs. So we are very, very excited to have her. So next we have the torch run. So as everyone knows, we have officially launched the torch run. All the documents that are needed are within the Google Docs. We have done individual asks to certain people, and we are currently tracking all the shirt orders. So if you haven't put your order in, please do so that we can get it out early. There is a little bit of a change to the final leg, and I was hoping that Brian would be on to share it. I know that Donovan is not, but I will go ahead and share it. We are looking at doing a little bit of live footage from the final leg. So from Blue Steel Coffee, it's about a 1.5 mile run to PLU. So we are looking at getting some drone footage and some actual video footage of that run this year, where Donovan will have a quick about 20-minute turnaround to then get that into good video format so that we can show it during opening ceremonies. We'll do a little stage handoff to the athlete and the officer who will be carrying the torch into opening ceremonies. So that way all of the runners will be able to be part of the Wall of Honor. And then not have to, they'll have some time to kind of breathe and have a little bit of food and everything before the Wall of Honor, but it will look more like the fully staged torch run. Also making it more like the USA game final leg, where it's that ceremony and more of that kind of put together. So it'll be more of that staged torch run. So we're very much looking forward to it. So Brian Johnston and Donovan are really taking the lead on that. So I thank both of them. But please reach out to your agencies. Every agency that's participating is on those spreadsheets with those turn-by-turn instructions and the timelines. So if you have any questions, please let me know and we can update those documents. But like I said, they're in the regional coordinator documents for you. Questions? Okay, moving on, run with the cops. So because we are so far, quote unquote, ahead, we've launched our torch run and we're finalizing routes and getting folks shirts. We've been able to have a little bit of time to work on the run with the cops. So we're super excited about a couple things. We will have one in Federal Way again. We will have one in Kitsap County again, and of course, Wenatchee. We are also excited to announce that we are going to have one in Snohomish. So Snohomish County, Brian Johnston did an awesome job fostering some relationships with Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, and we were able to confirm a run this year. So we're expanding up north, which we're very excited about. In addition to that, we are going to increase the registration cost by $5 so everyone gets a shirt, and we will be utilizing the same incentive program that we had with Polar Plunge. We received a lot of positive feedback from folks being able to pick and choose what they wanted versus having set levels, and then also the ability to pick and choose their logo that they had on it. So this year for Run with the Cops, they can either choose that logo, the LETR logo, or the SOA logo. We received positive feedback, like I said, from participants, from staff, and from our vendor. Do you guys have any comments or feedback on how that went for Polar Plunge that we should know moving forward for the run?
I thought it was awesome.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Rach. Anyway, so we are waiting on the Wenatchee date for the run, but aside from that, we are working on permitting and we'll get all of that stuff out as soon as we possibly can.
Hey, Ellie.
Yes.
Ellie, it's
Yes.
Rex. It sounds like somebody's wrapping packages or stacking coins like rather loudly. So I'm not sure who's doing what, that it's making kind of a weird noise on our end.
Yeah, I hear it too. There's a lot of background.
I hear it too.
All right, so can everyone please self-mute if you are not speaking, please, just so that everyone can hear? That would be awesome. Thank you, thank you. So International Conference, as everyone knows, it's coming up. It will be held in Colorado this year from September 19th to the 21st. We are working on updating all of our spreadsheets and documents from what the council voted on last month, where we'll be actually having a little contract this year to making sure that everyone is representing themselves appropriately. Registration doesn't open until May 1st, but the goal this year is to hit early bird so that we get a discount in registration fees. We are also already tracking flights. So we'll be reaching out to those agencies who qualified, probably beginning middle of April or so, towards the end of the month, just so that folks have time to be able to pick and choose their representative. I did have a chance to work with Mike Day offline. So Mike, thank you for your time. And I don't know if you want to jump in a little bit and share a little about what we chatted about for agency incentives. This might be a good leeway into that.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't sound like it's going to be too far a stretch from what was done before, because a lot of the agency incentives, I think we discussed the numbers on the last call. So we were looking at doing what? We were going to do 2 of the 3, which was going to be we're not doing the Rookie of the Year. What were the other 2, Ellie?
So we actually looked at doing individual incentives. So we don't currently have any of those. In the past, we've done a Rookie of the Year. We did a Chiefs and Sheriffs of the Year. So a couple individual awards. But looking at adding, right now, all we have is the Circle of Honor for agencies as a whole, but there really isn't much recognition aside from the little award that you get at state conference and the trip to international. So knowing that we changed the price range, if you will, for international, Mike and I discussed what we had in the past, which was having some different levels. So one of which would be included like a whole different prize, if you will, or incentive level of like an all paid expense trip to one of our state games where we'll put you up in a hotel and you'll get to be treated like a VIP and give awards to athletes. That would be a level, if you will. And then another one would be, of course, the torch. So Mike and I are still trying to finalize what we want that to look like in the sense of how much funds need to be raised in order to do it, to get a torch. We also discussed having it be a little bit of a longevity award. So rather than just one agency raising $50,000 once, having it be where you have to either hit a certain level of fundraising per year for 3 years, or you have to raise a grand total and you have 3 years to do it. We're still working out some of that, and then we will be presenting it to exec next month. But
we're also trying to make it to where it doesn't penalize the smaller agencies, regardless, because we want to keep the incentive going to make it something you do year after year, but also not penalize the smaller agencies that don't have a huge money pool to draw from. So just some way to make it long-term, but also fair and equitable.
Yes. So if anyone has any suggestions or thoughts, please reach out to Mike or myself. And as Mike and I kind of finalize that down, we should have it ready to present next month to the executive council. Any thoughts on that or any other questions? Mike, you good? Okay.
Good here.
Perfect. So I have, before we talk a little bit about some upcoming events, I have 2 exciting pieces of news that I wanted to share with everyone, kind of on the international scale. One of which was a call out and a thank you to Brian Johnston, who came down to our office last Friday and allowed us to shoot some footage of him. Kelly, who is our liaison contact at the international level, reached out to our program and asked for some interviews and footage of our local law enforcement torture run program to be shown on ESPN the week leading up to Police Week. So they're going to be doing a little thing honoring law enforcement with Special Olympics, and they asked our program to put some stuff together. So we already sent that in and they received it, but thank you to Brian. And as soon as we get the clips for that, we'll make sure to share it with everyone. So very exciting there. And then also we are working with Kelly again and the international committee for the conference in hopes that Mike Day will be presenting at the international level on SOA's behalf. So that's also exciting, whether it happens this year or next year. We're still kind of working that out, but congratulations on Mike for all of that. And thank you for your willingness to represent SOA at that international level.
Thank you.
Really quiet today, guys. Can we get a woohoo?
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Yeah, we were all muted. Made us.
We're all muted.
I know, but every once in a while we can chime in. Anyway, so awesome things coming up. So thank you everyone for all of your hard work. I know that it's challenging being a volunteer role on top of everything you're already doing, but just a few events that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention really quick before we'll have exec do some voting. Coming up on Thursday, we have a very busy day at SOA. We'll have the Breakfast of Champions here in Seattle. The link to register is on the agenda. It'll also go out in the notes, and you had it from last month. But if you want to come, there is still room, and we would love to have you. That night, we have a tip-a-cop at Claim Jumper. So we have 2 of those in the state, one in Tukwila and one in Linwood. Edmonds PD will be covering the Linwood location. Thank you, Christy, for stepping up to cover Tukwila. It looks like Port of Seattle will be lending some bodies to her as well, so both should be fully staffed. We are working on getting some video footage at the Linwood event. Tip-a-cop is the only one we don't have footage for. We are very close to finalizing our recruitment video for LETR, so that's a little combination of all 4 of our signature events. So I'm really looking forward to getting some of that footage and getting it thrown in the video so we can start utilizing that. Monroe Tippecop is coming up on April 15th. This is a really fun one. It's a different format than we normally see. It's actually a 4-course dinner with table service, a silent auction. We're working on getting some athlete speakers there. There'll be a small raise the paddle. It's a pre-purchase tickets, so ahead of time. So the link is on there as well. Brian and the crew at Monroe has done an awesome job setting it up. It's already raised over $2,000. So check it out if you can. Buffalo Wild Wings, we have confirmed 10 location, as we talked about last month, for the Eat Rings Raise funds. So 10% will come back to SOA if we share that flyer. So please do so if you can. The only one that has signed on to do a Tippecop is that Tacoma location. I'm personally a little bummed about that because we have reached out to some of the other general managers with just not a lot of interest and or response. So I am still going to look at fostering that relationship and seeing what we can do statewide, or whether it be me meeting with each regional manager on our own. I'd love to get kind of a mini Red Robin set up in Washington State so that we can kind of gain some of those funds back from our loss of Red Robin. And last but not least, we have our truck raffle that is going to be starting April 15th. This is an awesome, just turnkey event for Special Olympics that's already been set up. This is an area fundraising event. We have received a truck from the Tri-Cities of Toyota that we got relatively inexpensive. Mary can probably speak better to that than I can. But Donna Lindsay is our area manager for fundraising, and she will be the one that's kind of leading this for the law enforcement side. If you guys want tickets, you can reach out to her. She'll get you the tickets. You sell them $5 a piece. This is because it's an area fundraiser. This money will stay local to your local areas, but it will still be funneled through LETR, so your agency will still get credit for selling them. And the truck is really cool. It has the LETR logo on it as well as the SOA logo. So it's going to be a very easy, if you guys have any tabling events coming up, you're going to any outreach meetings, these would be fun to bring with the shirts. So a little bit cheaper price point. Mary, did you have anything you wanted to add about the truck raffle?
No, if there's a dump, I said no, and then I'm going to tell you guys, regional events or any events that you guys have coming up, like Ellie said, that you guys can utilize them. Some of the Knights of Columbus may be popping up their own little tents and selling Tootsie Rolls, as well as raffle tickets at some of our tournaments, but that doesn't mean that you guys can't join them in the fund. So it's a really great way to raise funds and keep it at the local level and help them with sustainability.
Can we get some, depending on when the drawing is for the WASPIC conference?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the drawing's not until August. We'll be at Summer Games, and so you guys will have until, I think, the 18th to sell them. So yes, we can make sure you guys get those for WASPIC.
So Mary, a quick question about the truck itself. Can you give us some details on what it is, and is it something that?
Yeah. So following this, I'll send you guys the photo. It's actually a pretty nice truck. It's it's not the Tundra, I'm sorry. It's a Tacoma, the better one, the crew cab one. And the really thing is that Toyota of Tri-Cities has been a really great partner of ours over the years, and wrapped it. So it also has the Special Olympics logo and the Law Enforcement Torture and logo. That if you wanted to use the vehicle in Tri-Cities, you can, Dan, at events to sell the tickets. But the image is really awesome. So I'll make sure you guys get tickets for that and then get connected with Donna.
So it's not like in 1993 it needs a windshield.
No, it's a 2019. It's a great truck. And then if it's not the truck, your option could be $25,000 cash. So if you do win, you can take $25,000 cash and then donate it to Mary Doe.
Yeah. Hey,
Ellie. One lap. Yeah.
Ellie.
Yes.
Can I get something about that in that packet that I'm going to give out at the King County Chiefs?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Or at least something I can talk about and how they can go about purchasing whatever.
Yep. So we have a flyer that it's just a one-page fact sheet for LETR for the truck raffle that we had in last month's notes, but I'll go ahead and add it to the Google Doc and I'll include it in with the picture in the notes that will come out later this week for this call so that everyone's aware. And we'll have Donna's information and all you have to do is email her and she'll send you the tickets. And then anything you don't sell, you can return to her. Very similar to our LETR shirt model.
Okay, sounds good. And so that means that I would be good to sell them at my little thing in June.
Yes,
Okay, awesome.
absolutely. Perfect. Cool. Two more pieces of information. I know we chatted about this last month, but just a reminder, if you guys have events coming up or some of your agencies under you have events coming up, please have them fill out the LETR registration event form. It is in the Google Doc, so make it really, really easy for you guys. You can just forward that on. If they have questions, they can go ahead and direct those to me if need be. We also have Mike Bell, who is out of Wenatchee. He is part of a different nonprofit who has a branded van. It's like a minivan. It's white and it says LETR Washington on it. He is available and has volunteers that are willing to come to any of our events. It is part of that registration form. So it does have some things that travel with it, like some tables and things like that. We're going to try to get him over here for spring games this year. He does a lot in the Wenatchee area, but he is willing to travel. So please remember that. We do have the monthly or the quarterly Guardian that will be coming out later this week as well, which will help recap a lot of what happened with Polar Plunge and what is coming up with some of our torch runs and things. But that is pretty much all I had for everyone. So if no one has any other questions or fun feedback or comments, then we will excuse all of the regional coordinators and ask exec to stay so we can discuss the Clark County position.
I'm Leanne here. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm waiting for approval from my chain of command, but I'm working on organizing kind of a quasi tip a cop, coffee with a cop, something with Dutch Brothers. Because the location that we have there in Renton is always just packed. So having the officers helping take orders and serve coffee and interacting with people and all that stuff, it's a really good location. Sort of. Walmart's there, but other than that, but I've touched base with Dutch Brothers and gotten their paperwork, so I'm just waiting for my bosses to say, yeah, let's do this, and then hopefully have that going in the next couple of months, maybe sooner. I'm waiting for the weather to get better because then the lines get huge.
Awesome. That's great. I don't know how many of those there are in the state, but let's talk about how we can elevate that.
Yeah, they're definitely sprouting up in a lot of places now. So, and they work with law enforcement. If you're in uniform, no matter what you order, it's only $1. If you're and that's their policy. That's their location policy wherever you go. So they're very pro law enforcement and willing to do stuff.
Awesome. Cool. Good work, Leanne.
Thank you. Hopefully it turns into a multiple location event.
I love it. Let me know if you need help with that paperwork too.
I will. That's all I had. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Great work. Anyone else have good, positive, fun things to share?
Hey, LETR again. I just want to say thank you, everybody that came to the Sea Wolves event 2 Sundays ago. That was super cool. Just as an example of how small this planet really is, I wrote to a friend of mine who is a trooper in Delaware that was on my torch run team in Abu Dhabi about the Sea Wolves, and he says, oh yeah, my buddy's brother owns that. And so the Delaware State Patrol lieutenant that is Shane's brother is a friend of the guy that I ran. I mean, it's a freaky, cool, small LETR world, and so thank you everybody that was there.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, fun.
Thanks, Rex. That was definitely on the agenda, and I breezed right over it. So thank you for bringing me back.
Thank you.
Well, I will end with something very exciting for everyone. As everyone knows, development did a lot of strategic planning last year and focused mainly on goals with our SOA 2.0 that Dave has shared with all of us. And the budget for LETR, the goal in 2019 is to hit $471,500. And so that obviously is one of my main goals for this year, and to help support that. I want to give a big shout out to Dan Irish for helping push the Broadmoor sponsorship of the fall games that will be considered LETR funds. And therefore, after Polar Plunge, it looks like we are only around $40,000 away from that goal for the entire year, and we are only April 8th. So congratulations to everyone. That is a huge success for LETR. We have a lot more to do this whole year, and we are going to get way above there, but I'm feeling very confident that we will be hitting budget, which is awesome.
Does the money that I raised for Abu Dhabi count towards that, or is that straight to SOI?
Say that again, Rex.
Does the money I raised for Abu Dhabi count for that, or is that straight to SOI?
That's not including that money, but the percentage that comes back to SOA should be considered LETR.
Good. I'm taking the rest of the year off then.
No. You do not have permission to do so.
It wouldn't be a phone call without a smart ass.
Anyway, so just wanted to end on that very high note and thank everyone for their hard work. What you are doing is making a very big difference. I hope that all of you can join us at spring games. I know it's a trek for some of you. I will be chatting with exec now, and we will get a location set aside for next month. The goal is that instead of doing this call via the phone, we are going to all meet in person. We'll have updated budgets, and I would really love to focus on the growth of the council and some of the changes with some of our signature events, such as Polar Plunge, and moving forward, trying to get ahead of everything. So I will be chatting with exec to see if they would like to be willing to travel to the west side, which would be ideal. So once we have that finalized, then we will, once I get a location, I'll send it out to everyone, but I'm hoping that everyone can make that work within their schedule, considering within most of our normal times. So we try to do face-to-face. We originally said every quarter. We haven't done it once this year, so hopefully we can make it work.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Regional coordinators, thank you for joining. We will be sending out notes throughout the, or before the end of the week. And executive members, if you wouldn't mind staying on, I do want to chat with you briefly about the Clark County Regional Coordinator position.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Ellie.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Mary. Bye, Rachel.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, Victoria, you're more than welcome to stay on if you'd like to. Oh, she's gone. Okay, Jeannie's gone. So we have Mike Day and Brian and Rex. And Brian Johnston, who I can't hear, but apparently he can hear us. So he's not listed on my list, but I believe that he's here somewhere.
In spirit, at least.
In spirit, at least. So as everyone knows, Brian went down to Clark County and was able to chat with them. And they saw the executive or the LETR handbook and realized that there was no position for technically for the Clark County area for a regional coordinator. We didn't include those positions because there was 4 or so regional coordinator positions that were not filled, and therefore they were me. So rather than putting me in there 4 times, we just left them off. I've been working with Chief Lackey, and he has been combining names for us of people that are interested in the regional coordinator position. I have them all combined in this spreadsheet. I'm hoping everyone can see my screen, Mike, Brian, and Rex.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great. So this is what they provided with us. We have never been in the position where we actually have more than one person who's interested. So we have the opportunity to just vote on what we have. I spoke to Brian Johnston, and he and I agree that there should be some sort of process to this. What that should be, I'm not sure. I'm going to leave that up to the council. We don't even have, right now, Chief just emailed everyone and kind of said who's interested. We have a little bit of information with just these notes along the side. So out of the Vancouver office, this is the first person who applied. There is one person who wrote all of their accomplishments. So I'm wondering what you guys feel would be the best next steps when we do have, and ideally this would be a big a process we can keep, because it will be an honor to be on the council or a regional coordinator rather than just, oh, hey, you're willing to do it, jump on board. So do we want to have some sort of survey or fill out thing? And if so, what should be on that? And then on top of that, what would the next steps be in the addition of possibly interviews, or who on council would be handling that? Would it be Brian, who's responsible for recruitment, and Mike maybe, who's with education? So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. We have 3 awesome people who are willing to do it, but this is kind of uncharted waters for us.
So, Ellie, what I would offer is when we're looking for TAC officers, trainers at the academy that would be willing to come out and work with us for a couple of years and, put in the time and stuff. There's several, I won't say hoops, but there's a couple of things they have to do. One is write me a letter of interest telling me why you want to do this and what you've done similarly that would give you the experience for it. So that's kind of nice. And then we require a letter from their agency saying that they are willing to support them in doing it. Because it's one thing entirely if, somebody says, oh, that'd be a lot of fun. And then their boss is like, what the hell did you sign up for? Because as LETR, all of our regional coordinators, all of our staff, like, Leanne and you go down, Christy and all the rest, they have the support of their sheriff or police chief who knows what they're doing and maybe doesn't give them everything that the officer would like to have, but at least supports them, is helping them in some way, rather than just they showed up and wanted to do it. And then as far as picking them, I mean, I think a cursory phone interview with Brian and Mike and Ellie would probably make the most sense. But having gone through this, breaking someone's heart a few years ago about telling them they weren't going to be on the regional position anymore because of political reasons and or friendship reasons that aren't really germane to this conversation, that was difficult. So I'd say a process needs to be in place so somebody understands why they were chosen and what's expected of them, and people that don't get chosen aren't like, well, screw LETR, I won't help in any way, shape, or form then.
Awesome.
Well, I think, can I pigtail on what Rex just said?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I think that he's absolutely right, and I think we ran into this last month and 2 months ago when we were looking for the student athlete, that if you don't have the right fit, and when it came down to, because it sounds like it was a fairly similar process as far as somebody saying that they wanted the position and then doing an interview, and the candidates had a very difficult time expressing, other than wanting the experience, why they wanted to do it. And to me, that's a huge question to articulate, in addition to having the support of the organization. So I think that he's spot on with his assessment, and I'm more than happy to help Brian or help in any way that I can. Just tell me what I can do, because it sounds like it's a very similar process to what we were looking at with the student athlete.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. I actually have Brian Johnson. I called him on my cell phone so that he can kind of hear and have a voice here, because I know he feels passionately about it. So Brian, can you hear us?
Just came back on, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Mike and Brian and Rex, can you guys hear Brian Johnston?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I'm not sure where we were, but one of the things that I think we have been talking about, if I understand where we are in the conversation, and is this executive council only, or is this everybody still?
It is. Jeannie, it looks like you're still on. Feel free to jump off at this point if you're still on. I can't tell if you are.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was here and I had to run because we had a fight in the jail, so I just joined back on. I'm so sorry.
No,
I left my phone on the desk and came back. So yes, have a great night, guys.
Thanks, Jeannie.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, so on the phone right now we have Brian Johnston, Brian Asmus, Rex, Mike, Day, and myself.
So something that we've started having these conversations about is that we've been in a building phase for the last couple of years and trying to get reignite the interest, reignite the statewide, in trying to bring people back on to the executive council and area directors and agency coordinators, and trying to build upon that. But not everybody is always suited for those roles in those advanced spots. You know, you might have a really huge passion about your specific fundraiser, or you might be of somebody that's much more strategic in thinking. And what we've done in the last couple of years is build up that capacity and trying to get that excitement. The next step in any kind of managerial situation or any kind of development of an organization or board development is to really start seeking out those people that you want to manage those other parts of the program. In other words, you know, you're going to seek out somebody that's a business-minded person or is a numbers person who's going to watch your overall budget spending and your income, and keep you on task for that. You might also have somebody that is out there that is specifically looking at that development of organizations, kind of like what I've done for the last couple of months after USA Games. The internal workings of our organization, just of the board itself, how does the board communicate with each other, and then, you know, creating that managerial role from the board standpoint, so that they are working with the area coordinators more closely, so that it's not all incumbent upon staff, i.e., in this case, Ellie, to make all those contacts. If we don't become self-determining, eventually everybody will get burned out, and we'll be back to where we were 7 years ago, where we're having a hard time getting people to be interested. Does that make sense?
It does to me. Chief and Rex and Mike, did you hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Sense. Everybody wants to be a sergeant until they get stripes.
Yeah. So what I'd like to propose is that at least the executive council, for a working group with the executive council, maybe not the entire executive council, but maybe 4 or 5 of us, have a sit-down, face-to-face conversation, 2 or 3 hour workshop, to inwardly look at our own makeup, who we are, and then start looking. And I agree with some of the things Rex has to say about going out and recruiting specific individuals. But I'm not quite sure we're there at the point where everybody wants to be on our team. We're still trying to build the capacity of it being a cool organization to be involved in as far as in management and board role. So I think we're almost there, but I think it's going to take some intent on us to say, well, this year we're a little weak in this area, we're a little weak in event planning, or we're a little weak in operations, or maybe this year we're a little weak in development as far as corporate development, or this year we're a little weak as opposed to internal organizational strength. Make sense?
Yes. So, kind of piggybacking off that, hoping that everyone is available for the next call. I would love for that one to be in person. We had talked about it last month, and so trying to get that on everyone's calendar. Oftentimes we do it in Ellensburg, knowing that it's just Chief and Jay and Dan out of all of the regional coordinators and exec members that are over on the east side. Brian, would that be too much to ask for you guys to come all the way west?
No, that's fine. That's not an issue at all.
Okay. So what I think I'll do is, if it's okay with everyone, I'm happy to set up, I'll book a space. We have a big conference room at our office, or I can find another location. I'm happy to kind of book out that day. I would love to see something with exec kind of like in the morning, and then we can include the regional coordinators towards the end of the day. I would just need to know what you guys are looking for in this sense of timing, and I'm happy to be as involved as possible. I like Brian's idea that maybe the executive council should sit down for a little while, maybe without me and Mary and staff, and you guys can take a look at kind of structure. It's your campaign. Whatever you want, happy to play whatever role you need. So what do we think? How would you like me to set it up?
So I will offer the academy again because easy parking, food, facilities, and they're free. Unless that doesn't work for you, if you want to avoid Seattle traffic, find something on the east side, like about east side of Seattle, like Issaquah or Monroe. I'm willing to drive to Monroe.
Hey, Rex.
Yes, sir.
Rex,
Yes, sir.
are you going to Waspic?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to? Brian's going to Waspic. Rex is going to Waspic. If it worked out in Mike's schedule that he could join us, I know that's a stretch, but maybe we could figure out a way to get him over there. The four of us could actually meet during Waspic, do a little breakout session, maybe spend an hour and a half. I'll tell you, I'm almost completely booked in May. Definitely will be on the road as of May 6th. Well, May 3rd, I'll be on. I will be pretty much out from May 3rd till Waspic. I will be pretty much on the road.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could do that. We could start that conversation at Waspic.
Okay. I believe that Eric also attends Waspic, if I
He
remember.
might. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. But we can certainly try to push it.
Okay.
Do you have a date on that?
For what it's worth, Brian, I've got, I'm supposed to teach a class and there's a commission meeting. And then I've got a couple other things I need to sit in. So let me know some options for the Waspic dates so that I don't get, you guys don't get there and I'm already tied up.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Mike Day,
Yes.
are you going to be at the meeting tonight?
Yes. I'm sitting about a block away right now.
Okay, then I'll chat with Mike about that tonight and see if that might fit in his schedule as well. I know that that might be kind of a difficulty, but we'll work on it.
Do you know a date? Is there a date or a group of dates that you're looking at?
I think it's May 20th through the 23rd.
Yeah. I'll arrive in the afternoon.
Just to jump in here. So our next exec call would be on May 13th to do this in-person in-person meeting. It sounds like that might not be a good time then. Thoughts?
Not for Brian.
Not for Brian. Okay, what about everyone else?
Yes, I will be at a different board retreat that first 3 days of that week, 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Okay, so what about June 10th, if we were to schedule it 2 months out? So our June call would be June 10th. That would be right after the torch run. And we could kind of reassess from there.
That works for me and Rex.
Okay. Johnston?
Looking at a calendar, but probably.
I think that will give everyone a little bit more time to be to block out their calendars
Monday,
as well.
June 10th, yep.
Perfect. And Mike? June 10th?
I don't have an on-call schedule that far out, but if the schedule holds rotation, then it should be fine.
Okay. Wonderful. So why don't we plan on doing a June 10th in person? And then if you can all meet at Waspic, that would be wonderful. I'm happy to provide whatever I need to do for whatever Waspic meeting you guys would like. My second question about that is, does SOA have a presence at Spring Waspic? If not, can we or should we?
I think you should. I thought we talked about it the other day in that it's the trade show, so it would be an opportunity for you guys to get a booth and have a ton of exposure, especially during the president's reception. Also, I thought Mary was going to try to do some of the sponsorships as well during that. She was going to get a hold of Deb Gregory and find out what was still available, because I know another organization took a whole bunch of those.
You?
Like, we took lunch. Yeah.
Get out of here. Okay. So,
Brian, what did that lunch cost you?
I gotta look, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be.
Because we still do the fall WASPIC luncheon, and that's gratis, I think. And so, because of the relationship,
The fall is the one that I'm glad we had the fall one, because it really helped us out a lot.
But the spring conference with the vendor booth was 2 years ago, I think. Brian and Carol were out there with some other folks, and we raised a whopping $300. But at least there was some exposure, but a whole lot of people kind of avoided it. At least that's how I felt.
I will tell. Well, Mary and I talked about this the other day, but we were on the inside, and we had a pretty comfortable space, and we actually had a ton of traffic. But that's because we weren't. It was a little. We took a very different approach. We took
right. We were out in the hall.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, so maybe I will start with talking to Mary to see if she can reach out to Deb, or I can reach out to Deb as well. I know her, and we can try, and I can try to see what's still available for Spring WASPIC to see if Special Vicks can have some sort of presence. That this might be, because this one's in Spokane, correct?
Yes.
So this might be a great opportunity for Victoria to come out and see what LETR is all about as well. And I will work on getting a location over here. Thank you for offering the Academy, Rex. I think that's an awesome idea. I will do a little research, see if I can find anything in the Redmond-Issaquah area, just because that would be a little closer for those folks that are traveling from the east. But keeping in mind that cost is most important. And then I will assume that I am happy to reach out to the rest of the exec members who are going to WASPIC to see if there is a chance that you guys can all meet and talk SOA, LETR, maybe at least the structure. I'm happy to lend some of my thoughts on where I think we could use some extra support on the council. So Chief, maybe you and I can chat about that later this week offline.
Okay.
And then
Hey,
we
Ellie,
can kind of take it from there. Yes, Mike.
is the meeting at WASPIC in addition to or instead of a June 10th in person?
I think that we'll do a June 10th for everyone, exec and regional coordinators. And then if some folks are at WASPIC and would like to meet and kind of debrief a little bit about and set some sort of agenda for that June 10th meeting, I think that would be great.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mike, you
thanks.
don't need to make an 8-hour round trip for an hour meeting.
Yeah, Mike, I think it will be those folks that are already there and that have that extra hour that can just kind of get together and try to set a little bit of an agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So going back to the original question, how shall we proceed with the Southwest Regional Coordinators? Would you like me to reach out to each one individually and ask them for a letter of intent and a letter from their agency? Or should that come from the board?
That really should come from Brian.
Okay, Brian Asmus. When we chat next week, maybe, or later this week, I can pass along this spreadsheet to you and we can talk about kind of next steps on getting someone in place down in Clark County.
Sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. That's all I had. And then Mike and I are still working very diligently to try to get the incentives for the agencies and stuff up and going. And it's my fault that it's late, so I apologize, but we'll have it ready to go to present by next meeting.
Ellie, real quick on the WASPIC having LETR SOA representation there.
Yes.
So our police department has 2 booth spaces for a tribute car that we built. Which has the fallen officers' names, and it's really cool. But WASPIC gave us 2 booth spaces for that. So if push comes to shove and you need a spot, maybe Deb can give us permission to also put a SOA table up at that same location.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, because this could be an awesome opportunity for us to bring the LETR shirts and the truck tickets and just information about, stuff that's coming up. So I don't mind driving over and spending a day, and then Victoria can maybe spend a couple days or whatever is needed. And that will also give me some time with her as well, which is always great. So I will reach out to Deb and work with Mary on that. And then Chief, I'll set up a time with you later this week to kind of finalize some of this other stuff.
Okay.
Awesome. Is there anything I'm missing? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it very, very much, and have a wonderful week.
Great. Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.